All right.
Welcome, Sexy Wookiees, to another episode of the Sexy Wookiee Squadcast. We're reading a brand new book, Star Wars Death Star by Michael Reeves and Steve Perry. Today's chapters is chapters 1 through 15. That's no moon. That's a space station. It's your boy, Sexy Leader.
Hey, your girl, Sexy One.
Hey, it's your simp, Sexy too.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, forget everything that you know about Rogue One. We are going back into a time of legends and reading about this version of the Death Star construction.
Yes.
Can you tell we're just so excited?
We're undercover.
No, can you believe all of us wearing like dark side stuff right now? What is happening?
I had
Sexy
to
Wookiees.
dig through my closet for this shirt because I knew I owned it. I just forgot where I put it. And I was
Yeah,
like,
you usually don't rep the Empire. But for this book, we might have to bust out some dark side. All right, jump into the questions. What you got for us?
all right, would you guys want to be part of Vil Squad? I mean, just the sassiness and the back talk and all that. I was like, this looks like fun.
No, it is. And what I love so much is that we have recently read the X-Wing, the first novel of the X-Wing series. And so we kind of saw like the squad dynamics of, you know, the fighter pilots and what they love about their ships and their teammates and all this kind of stuff on the Rebel side. And now from a completely different author, it's almost the same thing, but on the other side we've got these TIE pilots and they're all kind of like sassy hot shots. Like I love it. I was like, oh my gosh, they're the same. And they're not just all like evil robot clones or whatever. Like they love what they do and they have a completely different kind of ship. So I love that we again get kind of the mechanics of it and the strategy. And well, you have to wear the atmosphere suit because this one doesn't have life support or shields, but that means you just have to be braver in order to fly it, and that means that they sacrifice that kind of stuff for speed, you know. So there's all these differences, and it takes a different kind of person to fly them. And it's talking about his academy experience at one point, and I don't know, I just loved this glimpse into the other side because as you all know, the pilots are my favorite faction. So even the TIE pilots, I guess. So as much as I would say, oh, I'm an X-Wing pilot, I will always be on an X-Wing squad in the rebellion. But, you know, as far as all the different groups that we explore in this book, I think I would probably be in that group. That they seem to be having a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can always go undercover.
Yeah, sure.
I'll definitely join up too. Just, man, from the start, they were so well put together. And like you said, they're not, everybody has their own opinion of different things. I like how the structure is already like, they don't have to do like what we saw in the Rogue Squadron book, was that they had to always rebuild or, you know, always had to. It seems like this one is really well put together, that they already know their assignments.
Mhm.
They don't talk back like to their commanding officers. Like it's just, I like the dynamic of their relationships at the very beginning. So
Yeah, and the
yeah, I would totally.
organization of the empire, you can kind of see how they run things
Yeah.
differently and how they want a different mentality. But pilots are going to be pilots anywhere.
And the thing is, they're not like where we always think of stormtroopers and you want to say, oh, like these guys are really bad. And in some books, or well, in Rogue Squadron, we really saw stormtroopers go really bad. With these TIE pilots, they're always focused on the mission. And there was even a joke where he's to one other pilot or a co-pilot, did you read the, you know, the boards? And I was just like, oh, that's really funny that like they have to read boards before they go on assignment or mission. But yeah, I love all of that. I would definitely join up.
His squad just seems like so much fun. And when he was giving out the orders, he's like, oh, I didn't get a response from you. And he's like, oh, I wasn't paying attention.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like, that dynamic just
bad guy.
seems so fun. And even though, they're serious, they're on top of their game, at the same time, they know how to kind of let loose. And I'm just like, I want to be part of that squad. Like
Love
it was a fun squad to read about, and can't wait to see what else happens with them.
Yeah, exactly. And he seems like as much as he's a bad guy, he's got a conscience and is doing it because he loves what he does. He loves flying. He loves feeling like he's in the service of, his government or whatever it is. But he can see, that sometimes he has to actually end lives. And I think it's going to wear on him.
Probably. And then something else to think about is some of these people, like Uli said later on in the book, he's like, well, not everyone's here by choice. And then Vil said that he wasn't even like 25 and he was doing all that. And then based on the time period, I'm like, okay, so for quite a few of them, especially the youngsters, this is all they grew up knowing. So they don't view it as anything bad. So, it's, I don't want to say like easier to sympathize, but I can understand it.
Yeah.
We're so used to the good guys, we're rebels. But reading this and seeing that point of view, it's really interesting just to be able to understand like what's actually going through their minds.
That's what I love about this is every character in Death Star is working for the Empire by the end of it. Like they are all there, or they want to get there, and yet none of them are really bad people. And so I don't know, it kind of makes you think. And I know that we all know what happens to the Death Star, and I think this book does go all the way to that battle, and so you'll just never watch it the same again. And when you watch A New Hope and the Death Star blows up and you're like, oh, there were like 1 million people on there that were just trying to do their jobs. Luke, what have you done? But yeah, it's not black and white. It's not Empire. They're all, drone stormtroopers. Some people weren't there by choice or thought they were doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Interesting.
All right, ready for the next one?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so before we started recording, I was talking a little bit to Megan. Your face. I was talking to Megan a little bit about this. So as I was reading these chapters, I'm like, man, Tarkin and Vader, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Jersey Shore, something kind of vibes.
Real Housewives of Coruscant.
I don't know if that's like just my crackhead ideas or like, I don't know what, but who would win in a fist fight? Vader can't use the Force. They are straight up just going for it.
Dang. Well, I think even without the Force, Vader would win. Tarkin's kind of old and frail,
but he's so full of rage.
Yeah, I mean, he might be sneaky. He might, I don't know. He might use some dirty tricks. I did read the novel Tarkin, and he's kind of cutthroat. Like he is dirty, but yeah, but still, like Vader's half machine. Like, what do you can't even hurt him. So yeah, if they brawled, I think Vader would still come out on top. I mean, unless Tarkin's got like a really nasty trick up his sleeve, like, I don't know, carbonite or something that would just, stop the fight.
It was good to see this relationship play out in this book because it reminded me a lot of when Anakin was still a Jedi and Tarkin was working for the Senate, something in the Senate. But there was a episode where it's Anakin and Tarkin. So it reminded me a lot of what went on in there and then what happened in this book. But
I was going to ask you guys, because I was getting a feeling that there were some inferences to the Clone Wars, which I don't watch. So they must have known each other, right? During the Clone Wars.
There was an arc. This isn't spoilers, people. This episode came out how many years ago?
Come on, don't be like me.
Spoilers banner.
Just gotta say that. But so there was an arc called the Citadel arc, and so Anakin, some clone troopers, and a couple other Jedi had to go rescue Tarkin, a few other officers, and another Jedi. They had to go rescue them. Tarkin was there, and holy crap! When I was reading this book, I was like, God, I'm getting vibes from that, and that's why from the episode.
So they've always been this sassy.
And so that's why when he's like, I'm pretty sure it's
Ah.
Anakin, but I just don't care enough. I'm like, oh my God.
Okay. Okay, because all I ever did was read novels, and I believe their paths did cross in some of the old novels as well. But I was getting the feeling reading this one, I was like, this must be something about that Clone Wars show or something. I don't know. So that clears it up. Okay.
Yeah.
So not many interactions, just that one big one.
Vader all the way because yeah, he's a robot.
Yeah.
There's no way he can
What are you gonna
beat
do?
a robot. Try to choke a robot.
I'm gonna go with Tarkin. I was like,
Girl,
always the little ones that are
watch
so
out.
full of rage and sneakiness. And I'm just like, this dude, I'm pretty sure would not hesitate to pull out a vibroblade, stab like the chest box or something, start taking him out like that. He's like, he can't live without this suit. So I'm like, oh, Tarkin's gonna go dirty all the way. And I vote he would win.
Okay, I can see it. Not wrong.
I was like, okay, so Vader may be machine. He may be full of rage too and younger, but I'm like, there's nothing like, it's kind of like, like alcohol that you just let age and it just tastes so much better. I'm like, this fool aged, full of rage and just annoyance. And I'm like, he already doesn't like Vader. He already thinks Vader is someone that he didn't like from how many years ago. I was like, that's enough fuel to get him going.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I'm Team Tarkin. I never thought I'd say that.
What does it come to?
All right, guys, in the comments, hashtag Team Vader or Team Tarkin. Who's going to win in a fist fight?
Fist fight. These crack questions.
All right, so here's the last question, but I figured that we would take a while discussing it.
As we do.
Yep. How did you guys like being introduced to such a large cast of characters? There's so many stories, different places that they're in. I mean, they're eventually going to be connected, but at least for now, just getting introduced to all of them. How was that? What do you guys think?
It was a lot of people to try to keep track of in the first 15 chapters. I do think that after this, the stories start coming together and the paths intertwine, and then some will join up with other storylines, and then we'll kind of get less and less jumping back and forth. But for the time being, a lot of new characters. It was almost a relief when you would get to a Tarkin or a Vader chapter and you're like, oh, thank goodness I remember who this is and I kind of know how they operate. But I did feel like even with this big cast, I really got a sense of who everybody was and kind of how they operated and what their goals were and what their allegiances were. So everybody seems distinct from one another, even though a few were kind of from a similar, like we have two different people that are from the planet Despair that are prisoners, and yet they're completely different people that want different things, that operate differently, and different species even. So I do like that we've got some aliens in the cast now and different professions. I've got my fighter pilots to root for. And then I'm so glad that Yuli's back in. Like, that is a book series that I keep putting on the randomizer and we haven't got to yet. But MedStar, if anybody out there has read it or not yet, I highly recommend. That is a great series. And he is one of the characters from that, which takes place before this. So if you read that first and then you get to this book, you're like, he's back, I love him. So, and then if you don't know, because he only glazes over it in his introductory chapter, he is from Tatooine. And the name Yuli or Uli, however you want to say it, is Tusken for kid. So he was kind of a child prodigy when he left Tatooine and went to surgical school. He was like 16 or 17 or something.
Wow.
So these, yeah, because I think in MedStar he's like 19 and he's a battle surgeon, basically, in the Clone Wars. So his nickname was Kid, but in Tusken, so Uli. And yeah, I love him. He's such a good character. But yeah, I love all the other characters. I don't think there's anyone that I'm like, oh no, it's this person's section. It's so boring. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of rooting for everybody and interested to see what part they play in this Death Star and the Empire. And do they make it out alive before the thing blows up? And what's gonna happen? I like it. It's a lot of people, but I like all of them so far.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, and I can't remember a single name till right now. Except
you gotta have a cheat sheet, Ronald, like all of us.
I don't even remember the Wookiee's name. The one who said he would voluntarily join the Empire if he was never enslaved by the Empire. So no, I love all the characters were great. Like I like seeing a new perspective on the other side opposed to just seeing, we always see what the rebels resistance side. I like seeing the side, and you have to know, as a rebel, you'd have to know your enemy, just as if you were the Empire, you have to know your enemies, right? To be a good bad guy or good guy. I also did like the stories about the medics, so that was something new. And just how, like, when the explosion had an alarm, like that that they had to, I can't remember who the character was, but it was the one doctor, and maybe this is the one from Tatooine, the one doctor who also served in the Clone Wars.
Well, there's the young doctor who shows up, which is Yuli, and then it's his boss, like kind of the administrator surgeon of the department. So I think those are the only two that we've met, and then the droid.
Yeah, but someone did mention that they served to the Clone Wars, and
that was Uli.
That's how they, how he ended up being over there. Right. I was like, it's not by, and this is where, like, this profession doesn't coincide with war. It's just, I have a job to do. I'm not focused on politics. I'm not focused on war, the Jedi, the separatists, whatever. But now that we come into this new empire, I have a new role, and I'm just doing whatever I did. But
it's just your job.
It's the same as it was in the Clone Wars. I'm just doing my job. And so where I did have a little bit of trouble going when the story was going back and forth was the cantina scenes. A lot of the, like the bouncer and the waitress. I like the new droids who are on one wheel and who can mimic their managers or their boss of the cantina. That was really cool because it gave me like an episode 2 vibe of when that one droid talks to when Dex.
Oh, that's right.
So you want a cup of Java juice, and then like I was like, oh, maybe that's the same voice. Let me put this voice on this droid whenever this droid talks. And it's really interesting to see what is going on with the cantina and how their shipments and why their shipments are becoming late. Could it be the rebellion stealing shipments?
It is fun to be on Coruscant again.
So, but what I also like about it is they're keeping the Death Star very secretive, and at the same time, we're not getting a whole bunch of rebel. There is rebel conspiracies by Tarkin and a few of them.
They talk about it, but we haven't seen any.
Yeah, I hope we don't see any. I just want to see what they investigate with the group of prisoners, and hopefully the prisoners are maybe somebody we don't know, that's somebody who will become somebody. And then that's why they deflect, or hopefully those prisoners escape. Just to be on that note, what else? There was one more thing, and sorry I can't remember, but I'm just blanking out on it. Right from the start, when they're talking about the construction of this big planet, this big moon,
the moon,
there's so many weapons on this thing, cannons. I can't remember what they went to very specifics. I should have took notes on those, but there's so many weapons. I don't know how 15 X-Wing fighters blew this thing up, because man, it had weapons. I'm not
No,
gonna
but
lie.
that's the point. The way they were talking about it from the point of view of the people building it was, we've got all these surface cannons, so that if you tried to bring a big warship against us, we would explode you out of the sky, no problem. But it's because they're thinking of a big target. They're thinking of,
Right.
in terms of if they were getting attacked by something the size of a Star Destroyer, easy. They've got so many cannons, they would just hone in on you, boom, blow you up. They're not thinking a small, fast, single man fighter that you can't target with these kind of guns, and then going for a weak spot that, like, and so it was so
That they don't
clever the
know
way yeah, well, we'll see if they know about it or not, but it was clever how they wrote it, like, look at all these defenses we got, you could bring the biggest ship you want against us and it's not even going to be a threat, we'll shoot it out of the sky. No, because they're not thinking small, they're only thinking big. And so
Yeah.
that was the weakness. And I don't know, I just love how it was written to where they make it, it's written like, yes, this is an advantage, like, look how indestructible we are, like nothing could stand against us. And but that's exactly why they failed.
Their overconfidence of
Yeah.
massiveness was their
Yeah.
weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Jazz, what to do?
So many thoughts, so many characters. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. I already got attached to a few of them, and I was
Oh
like,
my gosh, of course you did.
I'm a professional simp. What can I say? But I was like, man, I'm pretty sure that the ones I'm attached to are for sure gonna die, because that's my luck.
Oh,
So
who's my guy?
I'm already really attached to Bill. I was like, I love him. I just really want to get him a beer and give him a cookie, because I don't know. He seems like he could use a cookie.
I do like him.
The bar owner, I cannot pronounce her name, and I feel like an idiot every time I read it in my head.
I'd just say Mema.
It looks like Mima, but I
Mima?
was like, this ain't no southern chick.
Mima.
What's a name like Mima?
Like your southern grandma.
So I'm like, okay,
I'd say
probably
Mema.
Mema. So Mema and Roto, I'm like, God, I love them so much. I love himbo men.
Like, I want to watch like a sitcom with those two.
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
just like Cheers on Coruscant, but with Mema and Roto. Like,
because Roto, he's such a himbo. I love him. I love himbos. And then Mema, she's so confident and just so like cool. I'm like, God, I want to be you. You're just so cool. So I really like them. Uli, I'm just like, oh, my sweet child. I love you
so much.
10 is kind of annoying, but I'm like, I want to see where this goes with him.
He's so my type, though. I'm like, hey. Yeah, Megan would seduce him in 10 seconds, like, easy.
I'm sure he would like it. So.
Oh yeah, like he probably wouldn't even need to. I love him.
But yeah, I'm just excited to see where all this goes and how they connect. All right, so Megan, because are we picking who our characters are dating?
Oh my gosh, wait. Do we have to pick fictional boyfriends and girlfriends now?
Yeah, because you said that. Why not?
Oh no, now that's hard to choose though.
I'm like, gonna pick either Vil or Uli.
I know, I love Uli to death, but I'm like,
we could
Megan, my character would would probably like the older heavy drinker gunner, you know. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe he would be fun. So and besides, nobody else is gonna pick him, so I claim 10. Well, are you gonna go for the architect or the bar owner or what?
No, like I said, if you're gonna go with anybody here, probably my companion would be the waitress droid.
Droid.
One wheel.
Dude, with the squeaky wheel.
Holy crap. All right, Mina is either gonna go for Roto so he could bend her like a glow stick.
Oh, Roto, what a sweetie.
Or no, probably Uli, because she likes the soft ones. Why not?
He's such a sweetheart.
That's why I'm like, soft boy, I love you. Please
I will
don't
destroy
die.
you.
I will riot if you die.
That's the problem. Like, I can't remember what happens to everybody in the end.
I mean,
So-
that's the point for us reading it.
I know. This is the
I don't
point
want
of
you
me
to
reading these
I
things
want you to
long
be
time
surprised
ago.
with us.
Yeah, and I will be. I remember a few things that are going to happen, but I can't remember everybody's ultimate fate.
Mhm.
So I am just as on the edge of my seat as you guys.
So 10, Waitress Droid, and Uli. All right, those are.
Okay, but wait, am I wrong? Was the droid the surgical droid? Was
There
there
was
a
this-
waitress droid?
There was a Waitress Droid.
Okay.
I remember that specifically because I was like, how the hell are these droids going to be carrying all these drinks around? And then it said how there's like how the cups are magnetized to stick on their tray and on their
They have
tray.
a
And I'm like,
tray,
that's
yeah.
smart. That's the only reason I remember because I was like, that's really
Clever.
smart. Why don't we do that in our world?
I know, man. I got to teach my droid how to bring me drinks.
So yeah,
I'm
there
gonna do
was the
this.
surgical droid, and then there was
Okay.
Ronald's
my droids
girlfriend, the
confused.
Waitress Droid.
The waitress droid. Sure.
I'm also kind of like wondering what's gonna happen with the one Wookiee, Har.
Oh, he's kind of like one of the heads of the construction crews.
Right, and I hope he.
I love me
doesn't-
some Wookiees, so I hope he's okay.
I hope he doesn't go. Well, it'd be interesting if he ends up doing such a good job with the construction that the Empire makes him part of the Empire, because we don't really see Wookiees, wearing any Empire kind of gear or
Yeah, he'd have to
or
be
part of the Empire
exceptional.
team. But yeah, it's crazy. Or do they just keep him as a worker? So I'm kind of excited.
Probably more like
happens
I
soon.
mean, the Empire is pretty bad. They prefer humans, even though like most
You're
of the
right.
galaxy is just aliens. And so, even I think it was 10 who even 10 mentioned how like humans
Oh yeah,
are
one of the other.
preferred.
Yeah.
Always gonna be preferred. I cannot pronounce
Right.
it.
Okay.
Preferred. I was watching Monk, and one of the guys keeps mispronouncing some words, and that's why I can't
So now
pronounce
it's
it.
stuck in your head.
Oh my god!
I
But,
do love though that the Wookiee is the one who's pointing out the flaw of the exhaust port.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
right.
like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are we putting this here? And Tila's like, I don't have time for this. Like, just build it.
Do it the way the plans.
And
yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
oh, thank goodness that Wookiee didn't get listened to.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so many cool characters to keep up with and read about next week.
Mhm. We shall see what kind of shenanigans everybody gets up to.
Yee, can't wait. Can't wait.
Yep. What are our chapters for next week?
16 through 30.
Okay, that's nice and even chunk. This week
Which-
1 through 15. Next week 16 through 30.
15 chapters each week. Sounds like a lot, but these chapters are like super short, so might as well.
It is manageable.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's see where this goes by chapter 30 by next week. I hope everybody has got their dark side t-shirts and hats to wear as you watch our podcast, Squadcast. Join us next week. In the meantime, keep up with us on all the social medias. I think I may safely say on behalf of Jasmine, we might actually have some fiction coming soon. So if that's your jam and it's not, pictures and podcasts, then you will be able to read all about the adventures of Sexy Wookiee Squadron very soon. So keep an eye out for those announcements. Be sure to let us know in the comments or on any of our pages if you are Team Tarkin or Team Vader, and who you would date from the Death Star. You or your character, if you've got, an original character in Star
You know what?
Wars.
If you have an OC that's set in this book, I want to hear all about
Yes.
it.
Oh, please tell us.
Please tell us. You can message us on Instagram or Tumblr. Tag us on Tumblr too, so we could see any cool stuff that you got about this, please.
Love it. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining, and we will see you all next week. I guess it's time for Sexy Wookiee Squadron to head out. Sexy Wookiee.